Welcome to Real Talk, Real Thought. Today we're just going to have a bunch of conversation regarding a couple of things. I think it's important that hopefully this platform is able to bring light some things that we need to bring light in. We're going to start off by saying thank you, Miss Tiffany Rochelle, for getting us on. So let's do this in conjunction with Hear My Heart, and you are introduced to the People's Champion.
Yeah, you're going to get it right.
Uh-huh.
The people's cheerleader.
The
Thank
people's
you very
cheerleader.
much.
But the people's cheerleader has to be the people's champion.
Don't fix
So
it. It's A-okay.
it's all good.
Don't even worry about it. It's A-okay.
Hear my
I
heart.
know who I am. Okay. Thank you very much. I am the people's cheerleader, and I am confident in who I am.
See, now we're gonna hear a bunch of this, audience. She is absolutely a jewel to have in your vicinity, and we're gonna unpack some things. So, how are you today?
I am thankful. I appreciate you asking that. How
Wonderful.
is you?
I is doing okay.
Oh, okay.
I am doing. I say that often. Sometimes people are like, just okay.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm really, really good. Life is absolutely phenomenal. It's good. I've made some very important choices in my life over the past couple of months. And although it's been challenging, it is definitely something that helped along my journey for peace.
Well, we love peace.
Yeah.
For peace sake.
For peace sake.
Peace is a wonderful thing to
it
have.
is.
And I want a piece of peace. Okay?
Yes. So we've been in so many amounts of conversation regarding so many different things that are happening in our life and the lives of people that are out in the world. And we've run across so many thoughts, so many thought-provoking questions, so many things that kind of prick so many conversations.
Yeah.
One of which that I want to bring to light, is this. And I wanted you to give me your perspective on this, right? Sometimes we try to fix things that we didn't break.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes we try to fix things that we did not break. And unfortunately, the things that we try to fix were broke before we got them. And unfortunately, the way some of us are set up is we try to provide the answers to those things which were broken before you got them. Okay. It's kind of like walking through the forest, and you're finding a branch that you didn't break, and you need to mend that branch back together.
Is it mendable?
That's the question. It really depends on how the fracture is, because it could break in a certain way where you can kind of put it back together and you don't need no glue, you don't need anything. But sometimes the fracture could be so deep that you can't fix it. So share with Hear My Heart / Real Talk, Real Thought. What are your thoughts on regarding that?
I agree that certain things that are broken can be mended. And then there are certain things that when it's broken, sometimes you just have to get rid of it. Certain things you might just have to take. I can't help it. I'm just churchy. You might have to take to the Lord. And He is the mender of broken hearts. But it depends on what we're making reference to in regards to what's broken. Sometimes it could be feelings could be broken. Sometimes it could be heart that's broken. My son has a fracture in his foot. And so that is something that can be repaired. You just have to have the proper things in place to make sure that it is able to adhere and come back together. So some things can be repaired, some things can be fixed, but it's up to us as to if we want it to be fixed or not.
Yeah, you said something real key there. You said that it's a certain thing as a broken heart, and it's certain things of just like broken feelings or something like that. Like your feelings could be hurt and your heart could be broke.
Yeah.
Kind of provide some insight on those two things.
A lot of things can break our feelings or hurt our feelings. A lot of things can break our hearts. So if you are in relationship with someone that you were in love with and lust with, infatuated with, and things go awry, providing that conversation was had, it's still going to break your heart if you were in love, lust, or however you were feeling in
Yeah.
regards to that individual, that's probably going to be damaging. But for me, when it comes to me, when I had my broken heart, I promise you one thing was for certain and another thing is for sure. I was not going to let a man tell me twice that he didn't want me.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to tell a man twice that I didn't want to have the uncomfortable conversation. And then if your heart is broken, your feelings is a little tattered.
Tattered.
Take the moment to
Yeah.
heal. Take the moment to
Yeah.
kind of like do what you have to do to get over it. But don't force someone to be in your space that don't want to be in your space. I think that is something super important that some of us do. We force individuals to be in a space that they don't necessarily mean that they need to be in. Seasons change and things pass.
Yeah,
So
I agree. And there's just for transparency purposes,
sure.
I am a person that likes to fix things.
Okay. Fixer.
I'm
Bob
a
the
fixer,
Builder.
big fixer. So there's many things around the house that goes broken. It's my nature to want to fix situations. And some situations can be fixed. Some situations can't be fixed. Some things around the house can be fixed. And sometimes you need to call a professional to help you fix the thing. For me, therapy was something, and conversations with people that are healed and are set free to some degree were things, well, those things were the things really created and put in force so I could get the healing and the information that I need.
Good stuff.
Healing and being a fixer. I still have a way to find answers to things, right? So in many cases, sometimes people could use your disadvantage for their advantage. And sometimes people can see that as being a flaw, but to them it's to not their, it's like if somebody sees something wrong, they could use it for their benefit.
Okay.
Right. And I find myself in situations like that.
That sounds like manipulation.
Yes, it is a level of manipulation, because if I'm going into it with a mindset of trying to kind of provide my added presence to be a help, and if it doesn't turn out to be what that is, it is in my right as a person that's healed, delivered, and set free. Yes, to move in an area that's going to be able to provide me with more healing.
Okay.
What I believe happens sometimes is, people can come in with a bad motive. And I think it's important that we understand what foundations are. When we talk about foundations and we're talking about, when we're building a house, there's a level of footing that has to be dug before the foundation is laid. If the footing isn't laid properly and the concrete is poured incorrectly, whatever you're building on that foundation can more than likely fall because the foundation isn't built properly. Okay. And I think sometimes when we get into these situations and we're not being honest, and the manipulation happens, and there's some things going on over here, some things going over here, unbeknownst to anybody. When a person figures out what those things are, okay, automatically the foundation is cracked. From the very beginning, we understood what it was. And now when you're trying to build, your house is going to fall. Explain, or just touch on that.
No, Doc, you touching on that. I don't know if I want to handle that. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think honesty in relationship is something that's super key. And everyone needs to go into relationship being able to be honest, because certain things fall through the crack, and you don't want things falling through the crack. So whoever you're in relationship with, or you're going to get into relationship with, if you feel like you can't be totally honest with that individual, or there's things that you have to hide, I think that's a great time for you to reevaluate. Take a pause, figure out, is this person who's supposed to be in my space? Can I afford to be vulnerable with that individual? If not, maybe they should just be a situationship. Maybe you are just cut out to be a cut buddy. I know I'm not supposed to be condoning such a thing like that. Right. However, come is reality. Right. So like sometimes we have to figure out for real, are you cut buddy Are you just situationship, or are you relationship?
Mm.
Where do I put you at in the category
Yeah.
of how comfortable I can be and how vulnerable I can be? If I can't trust you with my heart, why are you by me?
Yeah. Trust is attached to honesty.
Mhm.
Trust is attached to honesty. And I said it before, if there's a level of trust that's been put out there, but the foundation of that trust is already cracked, hence we have a problem.
Houston,
we have a problem. And it's not going to really be, it'll be to that person's detriment to continue on something in which they would know that it's a problem. Because at that problem was you built a good house, but what did you build that house on? So I think the title of this message or
come on,
information
message. Come on, sir. Wait a minute. Okay.
should be don't build your house on a cracked foundation.
Oh, sinking sand, huh?
Sinking sand. So we need to take a pause for the calls right here, so we can go into another segment of this. And I think it's a great introduction from where we're going. And I think I need to be transparent because there was a time in my life during these processes in my life where I found someone who was able to shine some light on some things that were going on in my life. And if I'm going to say this, and I'm going to keep it spiritual for the Real Talk, Real Thought folk, and for the Hear My Heart folk, because I think there's a level of spirituality that I think we need to understand. God is not making any mistakes.
Sure.
So for us to think that He is making mistakes by some of the choices that we make, even the craziness of our lives and dysfunctions of our lives and things that we think are demonically possessed in our lives, are setting us up for greater things.
Yeah.
So what we kind of need to do and really pay attention to is we cannot ever think that the decisions that we're making, whether we understand them or not, that they're done to harm you. You know, if you read your Bible, if you understand what biblical scriptures is, you'll understand that God talks to that. He's never going to make a mistake. He's too wise to make one.
Okay.
And He'll use the enemy's devices as a footstool. I'll go a little deeper in that a little later, but He'll use that to get you to where you need to be in Him. What happens sometimes is we kind of get dismayed because some of the desires that we have personally are not what the desires of God is about. And sometimes some things are placed in your space for a season. And sometimes if you're even irresponsible with what that season is, that season could pass you by if you haven't really dealt with your foundation. If your foundation is cracked and your desire your desire is to use that foundation for something that's going to help you build whatever kingdom you're trying to build. If you're building it on ground that isn't solid, it'll fall. So we'll be back to discuss some more things. Real talk, real thought. Salute.
It's your girl, Tiffany Rochelle here. I just need you to do me a super huge favor, if you will, please. It ain't gonna take but a moment of your time. I need you to go to my website and I need you to grab these pickups right behind me. If you want to enhance your life and you want to better your life, or if you want to give it as a gift, go on and stop by my website and go ahead and grab a book. This little journal that's going to be right here, that's going to help you get some of your thoughts that's in your head out on a piece of paper. Express your feelings and talk about how you feel. I choose me. That book, that's definitely going to help you show the importance of why you need to choose you. It's okay for you to be selfish. And last, go ahead and grab Goal Diggers. Help yourself set some goals and go ahead and get things that you need accomplished. It's time to get those thoughts out of your head and take action on it. These are action plans that you can make actionable. All right. And also, if you want to, go ahead and allow forgiveness to be your journey, and we'll get on that road. So go to my website and we'll get it taken care of. Grace and peace.
Real talk, real thought. Hear my heart. What's happening? Salute to you. We're back again as we had to take a little quick break, drink a little bit of Tropicana juice, and we're back in the conversation. And I think we have made some really, really good points at the very beginning regarding foundations and things that we need to make sure we solidify before we're moving on and doing various things. I think sometimes people in relationships or in people that haven't really figured out exactly how they're going to do, sometimes they leave situations undone And the start of something different is going to kind of develop cracks in your foundation. And I wanted to get into something personal because normally sometimes, us in the space of doing shows and podcasts and all of that sort of stuff, normally the audience really doesn't know who they're talking with. So I'm a musician. I am a person who has a tremendous amount of gifts. I don't talk about them. I don't have conversations about them mostly, only because sometimes people will more or less pay attention to what your gifts are than to who you are. And I like to be authentic. I'm a fun guy. I like to smile, and I like to have a good time and have a great time. And I like people in my life that are of some sort of level of quality. And I don't know about you, but my motives are always pure, right? And sometimes my pure motives are taken for weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
my pure motives are taken for weakness, and sometimes people can take advantage of the nice guy that I am. I don't say that to be, patting myself on my own back or whatever the case may be. I say it.
You're a nice guy.
I appreciate it, and I say it for in a way that people are understanding who I am.
Yeah.
Right. So we talked about trying to fix things that are broken.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We talked about foundations and all of that sort of stuff, and we got pretty good into the conversations. And I want to voice this opinion, well, this perspective. Why would a person make you responsible for the things you didn't break? Why would a person make you responsible for the things that you didn't break? So here's going into what I've been going through for the past year and a half, almost 2 years. I had to make my life on purpose for the things that I need to. Of course, some people, some things were kind of on during that process, trying to get me past them. But then you meet people who are able to see the work that you've done and say that there's more work that you need to get done. So they're not taking your weakness as a thing that they can come up on,
Mhm.
but rather a thing that they can help you process through.
Makes sense.
So I've had this process, and then I found someone.
Hmm.
I found this someone, and they understood what that process was, and then gave it a moment, not too long, but gave it a moment to say, hey, I know what you got going on. And that's why it's important to make sure you understand the heart of the matter. It's right. You have to be able to understand how you want a person to hear your heart. When you find a person that's able to hear your heart and not necessarily they're not there at all to manipulate you for their own benefit, you found someone special that you kind of going to need to say what this is about. What is this? So I pondered it. And what I saw and what I found out was an individual that I needed to be a part of my life.
Mhm.
And this is what she said.
What'd she say?
I'm gonna give you a moment. That's one thing. The other thing said was I need to create boundaries because some things that I had a part of my life at that moment weren't creating boundaries. And if I'm thinking about it correctly now, and this is fresh off the press, is if I would have continued along those lines, everything that I was attempting to build and get through at those moments would have come crashing down. And hear me, we had conversations in the first part of this session regarding foundations. And if we're going to have relationship during this time in our lives, we're going to have to make certain that the foundation of those relationships are not built on stony ground.
Mm-hmm.
The stony ground that we talk about could be lie,
Mm-hmm.
could be deception, it could be unanswered questions. Sometimes you say foregoing information. Sometimes you don't need to be asked a question. You should give the information beforehand. Volunteer the information. So that person is sitting to my left. That person may be sitting to your right, but to me, she's sitting to my left. And we have been on a journey with honesty, with transparency. There is not any situation of any insignificance or whatever that I wasn't forthcoming at the very beginning. So let's just say any information that's given, it's already known.
It is. It is.
So again, I'm not a disrespectful guy or messy guy, or whatever the case may be. I try to be on purpose, and I've been that way for a long time. And hear me, sometimes people will take that niceness and want to take it for weakness and try to put in stuff out that's not that's unwarranted. You know, it's just like, man, what is your motives? Man, I always say this. When I have a situation, you know this, when I have a situation, my question is like, who sent you?
Who sent you?
And it doesn't have to be a person. It could be the adversary. Who sent you? Because you come with foolishness, you come with lie, you come with deception, you come with a whole bunch of different things. And for me, it's important to make sure that when I'm building something in the form of a relationship, we need to move in that direction. So introducing to the Real Talk, Real Thought folks, this is my lady, and it's not it's not a secret to some, but if anybody knows me, privacy is very important.
Absolutely.
But sometimes when people twist narratives and all that sort of stuff to kind of get out of what situation they want to get out of, sometimes it becomes, you know, salacious, and it comes real messy. And it's not that I get ahead of stories like that, because I don't have any. This is a real new spot for me. There's so many things that I'm able to really verbalize. So I'm gonna get off of the platform and
That's funny.
and let her speak.
I have to say, I really appreciate your heart, sincerely.
Thank you.
Like, that's real talk.
Real talk.
Real talk.
Yeah.
That's a real thought.
Yeah.
Seriously, I real life appreciate your heart. You have such a genuine heart, and it does not need to be taken advantage of. And I really appreciate the fact that you were super open, because some of the conversations we have, you know, I always got questions.
Got questions. Yeah. Got questions.
So I'm going to ask the questions, and whatever question I ask, I am prepared for whatever the answer is. But I appreciate the space of honesty. And sometimes certain things were uncomfortable. However, the fact of the matter is you opened up about it, and I real life appreciate that. So with all of my heart, I can't just say from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my heart. No. So with all of my heart, I real life appreciate that, because that really can be uncomfortable, and that's some stuff that could seep into the foundation. That can definitely get in there, and you don't want tumultuous times to happen, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't that. So I have to say, we're building on some great foundations. I appreciate you.
That is the foundation of it all. It is what it is. And I'm gonna just go through a couple things for the gentleman, because I think it's important. I'm a guy, you know, I've been through my share of ups and downs, as the old church would say. I get it. I feel you. I understand. I've been through my share of just, you know, being whatever it is out here in these streets. And I know statistically what they say. I get it. But you know, one thing that I really kind of looking forward to is the connection with somebody that you can't do without.
Oh, it's major.
That to me, and everybody knows my story. I say it all the time. I have a post out just a couple of days ago, which just the first clause of that was saying, man, I've been married for 20 plus years. That is what I've been. And anybody that's had a relationship for such a length of that, I'll let MyHeart give her testimony and let you know how it kind of mends, right? I don't want to be by myself.
Yeah.
It's not that I can't be by myself.
Mhm.
Is that I don't want to be myself. I think I work a whole lot better when the situations are kind of right. The thing is got to be right. And as I stated before, if the foundation isn't right from the very beginning, I don't know how you can expect that to be something that sustains.
Yeah.
I was at a point in my life very fearful
Mhm.
to say that.
Mhm.
I was at a point in my life where I didn't want to have that one person.
Mhm.
And folks can say and kind of have your own definition of what that means for me.
Mhm.
But for me,
Mhm.
I got to say that for me. So I'm going to say this emphatically. No one knows the inner workings of Kenny J. Wilkins but Kenny J. Wilkins. No one can define that. No one can have a perspective about it, but understand that perspective is not always truth.
Sure.
And most times people are motivated by what they think they can get out of Kenny J. Wilkins and not understand that there are processes and things that go on in Kenny J's head that he has to be comfortable with. And I don't like not waking up to someone that I genuinely love every morning. Like that is not something that I look forward to. And whatever I got to do to make that stay sustainable, I have been doing it. I had a list of homework to do.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen. I had a list of homework. Now, when you find someone of great value, you will do whatever you believe you need to do to make sure that value stays a part of you. And let me tell you something. Other than the life coach, other than the Hear My Heart, everything that she speaks of, she is that.
Oh.
Everything. But here's what's crazy about it is, some may have tried and were very unsuccessful. Such as myself, some may have tried, but were very unsuccessful.
Yeah.
But it's one thing I can say we have: the foundations of us have been solidified, and they are what they are. My hope, or our hope, right now, is that when we open our mouths and the meditations of our hearts flow,
He's so churchy.
that God will be acceptable, like accepted what we say, because ultimately we're going through what we're going through for somebody else.
Yeah.
And throughout you're scraping your knee and you're having the problems and all of that sort of things, everything's gonna work out for the good.
Sure.
And for me, I gotta stay on purpose with that. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, look into my eyes.
Oh, not look into my eyes. Hold on.
I on purpose took my shades off, and the reason I wear my shades in the beginning is because I don't really like the sun or the light in my eyes. I had to allow people to be engaged, and sometimes your eyes is kind of the mirror to your soul. Hopefully you guys could hear the sentiments of my heart and govern yourselves accordingly. So what do you have to say with that, my dear?
I have to say I believe that you will remain open and honest.
Yes.
And I'm saying that because as for me in my house, it's my responsibility and my mandate. And as ladies, period, to create that safe space for guys to open up. And I believe men can stay open and stay comfortable to be honest when we create that space for them to be able to be honest, and not using whatever their past was in this present situation and whatever is happening. I believe it is imperative that we allow even if they say something that's super, oh my God, it's going to jar you. Like, take a moment, inhale, exhale, breathe. Whatever the conversation is being had, if you genuinely and sincerely care about that individual, put pause on the conversation and say, hey, I got to walk away. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
I need a break.
Yeah.
But hear the heart of what that individual is saying. For me, that was super important, is for me to make sure that we create that space sincerely and it's genuine. Like, for me, whatever you told me, there was some stuff I said, hey, hold on, pause. We'll be right back. After that message, I'll be back. Hold on. But I had to give myself that space.
Yeah.
And that was super important. And I think in the process of having conversations with your spouse, if you don't give yourself that moment, sometimes those words can be jarring. Everything that I say to you, I mean, but I want you to hear the words that I say versus the tone.
Mm.
And I think in conversation and in relationship, you'll hear the tone.
Yeah.
More so than the message.
Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Look into my eyes.
Hey, not too long though.
Cut it out. But I think it's important during our process, and obviously our process is continuously. I think the process of understanding what that one person is trying to say, and it's kind of reciprocal. It kind of keeps going around like a big wheel. You have to be open to hear. Mm-hmm. What happens sometimes in the male platform or in us males is when we open up to what we think is safe, and then it turns around on us and beats the crap out of us in our head. It is at that moment, ladies, where that man is probably more than likely not going to open up again and again. Men are like this. They're very volatile in their thinking. It takes one time for the explosion to go off. Mm-hmm. And it's at one time when the explosion goes off that you're more than likely not going to kind of get an explosion like that again in him. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. It's important, men, ladies, that you speak to your person continuously. Mm-hmm. We've had extensive conversation on so many different levels. And nobody's privy to these informations or these, but you know what's going to do. You know what it's going to do in that relationship. That's going to kind of make this relationship better and better and better. When there's no communication, the foundation is starting to crack. Uh-oh. When there's no communication, so that's for male and female. Mm-hmm. When you're having these conversations and it gets hard. As she stated, she's like, I need a minute. And for me, I'm Mr. Fixer. I want to go find out what's going on. We got to talk. And sometimes you can kind of be agitating the situation a little more. And what's necessary at that point for you, just give it a moment. I know it's difficult. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen. I've been in situations where I got to sit and chill and just chill. And it's the hardest thing in the world because you want to make sure that she's okay. If she's not okay, you feeling that it's your job to get there. Hear me. I'm going to say this. This was important. Ladies, have enough healing, a part of your heart where you can take that time away. Yeah. Because what happens sometimes is you feel like you have to answer it right then. Mm-hmm. Men should have a responsibility to make sure that foundation is set. And when she does get there, just kind of be like, I said this in another podcast that we were having. Yeah, forget all of the flowers. Mm-hmm. Forget all of that. All a woman needs, of course, she's going to want some other stuff, but for the most part,
I got a cart for that.
Yeah, she got a cart. All a woman needs is the conversation. If you bring roses and flowers before the conversation, yeah, it's quiet, but for a moment, and at some point. A woman is going to say, yeah, thank you, boo. Give you a good old kiss. Wonderful, wonderful. But it's going to come right back where you have to sit down and have a conversation. But men have the conversation. Ladies got to make it kind of comfortable for him to come. Don't ask him to come and he unveils himself and you beat him over the head. Yeah. with that broken stick that we found in the forest at the beginning of this whole conversation.
Yeah. Don't jab them with that.
Don't kill them with that. No.
But that is definitely something for us to make sure that we're in the proper posture. Because, and again, that goes back to, are you ready for a relationship? Are you just wanting to be in situationship, or you just need a cut buddy? Because if you're wanting relationship, you have to make sure that your heart's posture is ready for a relationship. Because we all have past. We all have things that we've dealt with. And I can't afford for me to share even some of my things from my past.
Yes.
Thank you for creating that safe space for me, because I've shared a lot with you and I've cried a lot. But I appreciate you allowing me to share that space with you, and you not beating me up about it either, because that definitely happens as well. It's not just women creating the safe space for you guys to open up. That responsibility is on the fixer also. So making sure that your area is clean to be able to receive, this is what I went through, and to be able to help healing to begin if they aren't already completely healed. Because even if, and I can't even say, let me fix that, because there is healing that will happen with the individual, but there are certain things that we feel we may be over, that we've overcome, but it's not until we get into relationship that we feel like, oh, I thought it was over there. I thought it was done. And then once you get that, are you going to be able to be the balm and the antidote to that? Or are you going to be the individual that's going to keep scraping at it? And I'm like, okay, see, I shouldn't have said nothing to you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is so important that you, in those times, provide grace. And I don't say this, I heard this from another preacher. Don't ask for grace when you're not willing to give it.
Yeah.
Some people want so much grace, but then aren't really ready or wanting to give it back. And I think that's kind of oxymoron.
Okay.
Right? So when we shared our various situations, when you shared our various struggles and things that we have going on in our personal life, I had to kind of give grace to understand that there was a life before me.
Yeah.
Such as she has to understand that there's a life before me, before her. So in those spaces, in those times, it is difficult to hear. Look into my eyes.
Not for long though, okay.
It's difficult to hear, but it says it was good that I was afflicted.
Yeah.
It's good that I'm able to see what those things are and help her heal through them. At that point, it's not for us to be like, oh my God, come on, cut it out, man. We in our fourth decade. In our fourth decade. Cut that out. Like, but come on, man. Like, at some point, you got to kind of take responsibility for what you did too. Like, ain't nobody no innocent character in the book. We've all had situations. All have fallen short. Who is without sin, let them cast the first stone. I have yet to find anybody without any sin. If you're in this fleshly body,
that's what we were born in.
Oh, and we're shaped in what?
Come on, Nick.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. So I think it's important for us to have these conversations. We'll unpack so much information on this show. We'll pack so much information on Hear My Heart.
Yeah.
Man,
you'll see more of these. You're going to see more of the real talk, real thought, because you're going to be hearing our hearts. Because you won't be able to hear an individual's heart without using your ear. Spell the word heart and you'll see ear in there. So it's very imperative that we use our listening skills and we use our ears to be able to hear what an individual is saying. When they are giving you their real thoughts and they're talking from a real space, we need to be able to make sure that we are in the proper posture. You can't talk to everybody. You find that specific individual that's safe for you to talk to. Because again, how you're feeling in your heart, you can't trust to any and everybody.
True.
So it is very imperative that you find that safe space. If it's not a friend or a family member that you can trust your feelings and your inner secrets with, guess what you have out there? You have coaches and you have therapists out there, and they can be your best friend to help you navigate through some of your life situations. So
Yeah, and please, ladies and gentlemen, do not take therapy for granted.
please don't.
Do not take that word therapy for granted.
Yeah.
Please, as the Bible talks about having wise
Wise
counsel.
Mhm.
And I don't hate to keep referencing scripture, but we have to understand principles. We learned about that this past Sunday regarding the principle of tithe and offering.
Yeah.
And it can't be just do it, and if you ain't gonna do it, you're gonna go to hell. It can't be just that. It has to be something or some other principle attached to it.
Mhm.
This is not a scare tactic, and
Right.
sometimes we get religiously into some level of scare tactic to scare you into loving God, to
Mhm.
scare you into loving Jesus. And if you got to be scared to love him, you're
Mhm.
defeating the purpose of what you should be loving him for.
Mhm.
So we are
Reverence
in. Huh?
Reverence him, but don't be scared of him.
Don't be scared. Reverence him, but don't be. But so our attempt here is to kind of give you some things, and trust me, this is therapeutic for us
Yeah.
because from what we had to deal with within the last couple of weeks, it's honestly scare tactic.
Mhm.
And man, I'm going to put all of that under the blood, and
Oh.
I got to get into a way, let the ministry, which I believe is a part of me, shine through me. And sometimes, my inability to trust people,
Mm.
that's a transparent moment. Sometimes, and I've never shared that with anybody. Sometimes people will show you who they are, and they will disguise themselves as people that are coming to help when in essence they're coming with their own motive.
Sure.
And I have to be cognitive of that and allow the spirit, which I know I have, to be something that goes before me and
That
goes
and boundaries.
that in boundaries and going before us to make certain that when we're having these conversations that they're able to help people. And this is therapy for us. And I think we'll have a whole lot more conversation. You gotta like, you gotta comment, you gotta share. I don't care what it is that you got going on. Who knows where this is going to go, but our prayer is that it becomes something that can help you in your process of starting new relationships, ending old relationships, getting into safe spaces, creating boundaries, understanding how to really, really put the foundation down and, dig that 6 foot, footer. So when you lay your concrete, it's just not on those rocks and on thorny ground. And this is all Bible referenced sort of stuff. So hopefully it's able to give you principles and things that you're able to kind of go, I see. Hopefully it's able to give you some things and some ideas and some perspectives how to live better. It's just not all about going to your local church and shouting down. That's the celebrating part of it. But if we don't get into the honoring and the reverencing of it, we'll be just dancing and sweating and carrying on for no apparent reason. So what we need to do is get some, as the old folk will say, get some wording.
Yeah.
Get some, not just scripture. Yes, scripture is good, but you need perspective. You need understanding, and not just perspective that's one-sided. See how to see the good. She's really good at seeing the good. I'm that. So, but the Lord is going to provide grace.
The Lord.
Yeah. The Lord's going to provide so many things. So who knows what this thing is going to morph into be? Our prayer is that you grow in grace, grow in love, grow in positivity, grow your heart in areas that's going to kind of release some goodness in your heart and in your life. And these things, when we shed light on these things, they'll help you in your life. So hopefully this is not for any one particular genre of person.
Right.
This is not for anybody in particular of a color. This is information that with hopes is going to kind of open up your mind into receiving different things that are good in your life. So real talk, real thought, people. I appreciate you stopping in and
hear my heart, my lovers and friends. I'm grateful that you took the time to spend with us some of your non-refundable time.
thank you so much. We love y'all. God bless. Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk, Real Thought with Kenny J.
And you are also tuning in to the Hear My Heart show with Tiffany and Rochelle here. And we are thankful that you are spending some of your non-refundable time with me.
Yeah, the collaborative effort that we did with this, man, it just meant so much. And I'm looking forward to the replay. And we want everybody to go in those comment sections and let's have some fun and dialogue and help us grow. How about that?
Absolutely. So we need to make sure that you get into the comments. It's okay if you didn't see this when it first premiered, but we still want you to go ahead and get into the comments and talk to us. Share the show with somebody. You never know whose life is going to be impacted from the information that we're going to be sharing with you. So make sure you like the show, comment on the show, and share, because sharing is caring.
Yeah, do all those things. Continue to love, continue to be positive, continue to uplift your neighbor, and we're gonna do this whole thing together. We need to do life together. We're gonna grow together, and we're gonna grow together. So it's all fun and good. All fun, no games, all fun. So thank y'all again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one. Salute.
You must be God. The way you're holding me up, it must be hard. Weight of my heavy heart that's just been scarred. Trust be charred, burnt from the past, bad choices. Lust be guarding the key to my soft places. Your embraces keep